Hey everyone, Kevin A. Creedon. How y'all guys doing? So, I got tagged in a video by a friend recently, and this is going to be something a little new to me. I do a lot of these vlogs, or, well, I've been doing more in the year, but something interesting that a lot of you guys may not have picked up on. I do talk about it, but very rarely. I mean, I talk about it a little bit because it does affect this channel and my daily life, but I am visually impaired / legally blind. I never really know what to go through, and the reason I'm wearing the LA cap, I'll leave it on because my hair is going to be all messed up, is the dude I know, he was a friend of mine. We went to a summer camp called Sunnybrook Summer Camp for the visually impaired. He lives out in LA, so I thought, what better to celebrate him with than the LA Dodgers cap? So, he had this tag challenge for the VIP, very visually impaired people. So, I've written down the questions and the answers, and I've also got to tag 3 people in the end of this video. So, I'm going to go on ahead and do it. So, first question is, medical condition that caused you to become visually impaired / blind. Well, there's a couple of things. With mine, it's a little, I'll take that off. It's a little different. It's a long story. As you guys know, who can see me and know me, you see how my hands are, how my face is. That is complex cutaneous neurological hemangioma disorder, or actually syndrome. What it is I've got blood cells, like a collection of hemangiomas really close to my skin, so it causes my skin to look the way it does. Now, there's also been some talk recently that it might not be that, it might be Sturge-Weber. Nobody really knows. It's more of an umbrella type thing. It's a collection of symptoms. So, that is really that. Now, one of those collection of symptoms from Sturge-Weber or the complex neurohemangioma mouthful syndrome is it causes me to have glaucoma. So, as you can see, my eyes are really dark, and my pressure in my eyes due to high blood pressure and glaucoma has actually been like pretty high, and I've always been legally blind since about 1st grade. So, it is what it is, man. Alright, number 2. Describe my vision in 3 words. No side and dark. Now let me build on that a little bit. I have almost no peripheral. So it's really weird when you walk in a crowded place with me and somebody walks by my side. I don't see them too well. And then in the evening, I have almost no night vision. And it's really dark. It's really dark. Like I'm almost blind, like blind, like can't see jack. So, number 3. Hardest thing to do being blind or visually impaired. Well, for me, the hardest thing, or it's a collection of hard things, is most of you guys know me. Most of you guys watching this video do know me, so you know that I love cars, driving, anything transportation related. I've been on a train a couple of times, enjoyed that. Haven't been on an airplane yet, looking forward to doing that. But semi-trucks were just, I love semi-trucks. I've always wanted to be a semi-truck driver, mostly long haul, large freight, heavy freight. Driving a 1989 Kenworth K100. Never got to do that in the real life, but those of you who know me know that I have American Truck Simulator and a mod to do that. So that was one of the harder things, was, being a car guy, surrounded by cars, just loving cars and being, 8 years old, looking forward to getting your driver's license. However, not going to get your driver's license because it's not really good. It's not safe for you. It's not safe for me. Going through high school where the car was the biggest sign of independence and everybody around me is getting their license, and then there's me, not getting my license. So, of course, that really stunk for a while, but I'm kind of over it now. I see a lot of people who got cars and their driver's license when they were 16, and it didn't bring them all the eternal happiness that they thought it would. So, you're only, when you're living your life and you're only looking towards material things, it's not going to be perfect for you. But, alright. So that was best part of, no, that was actually hardest thing to do, being visually impaired. I mean, driving is pretty hard when you're visually impaired, guys. I ain't gonna lie. Best part of being blind. Well, or legally blind, visually impaired. Well, for me personally, the best part is just the experiences. I mean, I've got some stories to tell, especially riding the train was a fun story because it was me and some people who were blind, and it was a whole comedy of errors. I mean, this is what, it was almost like planes, trains, and automobiles getting home and getting to where I was going. Another thing is just even down to, the experiences with people. Based upon a person's, how they speak, how they sound, I can pretty much pick up on whether they're being, genuine, or they're, trying to put on the dog, so to speak, trying to make me feel better, or trying to say things that aren't going to hurt my feelings. I can tell if they're going to be real people, if they're going to be people that I'm going to hang around more. So stuff like that. Number five. What question do you most frequently get asked about your vision? Funny thing is, I compensate really well. So a lot of people don't ask me too much about my vision until they get to know me. First thing they ask, or people make comments about, is my skin. So really, I don't get asked too much about vision. Now, I do need to tell you guys a little bit of a story about me being younger and how I've come to grow. I tried to run away from being visually impaired because, from what I've noticed, and it still hasn't changed, there's a stigma about being handicapped. Most people see that you're visually impaired or hear that you're handicapped, they automatically treat you like you've got like you have some mental disabilities, or, you have something that causes you not to be, it causes people to not think you're smart or intelligent. They treat you like a child, is basically what I want to say, and I still find that to be wrong. So that's why I always ran away from, my visual impairment. The skin I really couldn't hide. I mean, I was in a play once and they made me up, and I looked in the mirror and didn't even recognize myself, which was really sad. So, but, that's the thing. I didn't like the stigma, so I always ran away from being visually impaired. And that's why I don't talk about it too much. But, when it comes to questions about vision, I get asked, the basic ones. What can you see? About how far can you see? And I explain, well, my vision for seeing distance it's okay. I mean, it's not great, but... And then nearsightedness, when I'm looking at, I got a Hot Wheels car here, and I did do those details. If you can see that, I have the headlights and the taillights done. For those of you who don't own Hot Wheels cars or never really seen one, they come without headlights or taillights, so and they're really small. They fit in about a child's hand. Sorry, I'm trying to catch my book before it falls. But so they fit in a child's hand. But I can see distance fairly well, but if it's something like a car, I really either have to focus with my glasses, or most of the time I flip them up and put them on my forehead and look really dead close on that car. So for those of you that can see, for those of you that can't see, I got it about, I want to say, close to 3 inches away from my face. So, what's the next question? And of course, I can't read upside down. Cane or dog? Well, I do own and I use a cane. I never really needed sighted seeing eye dog, but this is my cane. It's a nice 5 or 1, 2, 3. It's about a 4-piece cane for people who are about 6 foot tall, I would say. I walk with mine at an angle, and well, this is for most of you who don't know about seeing eye canes and how they're used, but I walk with mine, at about a 45-degree angle and a tap, so I know that I'm not going to walk into something or somewhere. Now, the reason why you don't see me with my cane a lot, if you do see me out places, or I don't talk about my cane, is because I don't use it that often. I mostly use it in new locations, such as, going to a concert. I've only been to one concert. There's a video about that, but, yeah. But new locations, a lot of places where there's going to be a lot of people, because I've been told that I'm really cautious about my movements, but it's other people who are not. It's the people around me who are not cautious of their movements, strangers who will run up on me and kind of like bump into me and stuff. Now, I don't know. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I used to hate going to department stores that had makeup counters, because they always had like nice glass cologne displays with nice glass cologne on display, or going into a place that sells dishes and china and stuff. For a long time, I was known as the bull in the china shop, because I'd go and I'd try to move around and not walk into like a display of like a 124-piece set of china with fancy dishes and wine flutes and stuff, but the next thing you would hear would just be all the crashing of the glass. So, but I've gotten better with my vision as I've grown. I've gotten older. My eyes have gotten a little bit better through operations and stuff. I've had a lot of operations on my eyes, and I've gotten able to see a little bit better, to kind of navigate a little bit better around my surroundings, or new places. So the mall or a department store doesn't really cause me fear anymore. Crowds do cause me a little bit of fear. I've never talked about that. I probably will talk about that later in a truck and talk video, but crowds do cause me a little bit of fear, because I'm always worried about running into people, or people running into me and having to explain. So that's pretty much the main reason why I got my cane, was just more for identification in the unfortunate event, or rare unfortunate event, that somebody bumps into me or I bump into somebody and I need to explain, oh hey, I am blind. There was a time when somebody bumped into a person around me, and the person who bumped into them asked, hey, what are you, blind? And the person who actually did get bumped into was blind, and they had their cane. And I'm like, ever since then, maybe I should have a cane. So that's the main reason why I have a cane. I don't use it terribly often. So, like I said, mostly at night or new locations, restaurants, especially like dark, intimately lit restaurants. I use my cane more. So. Alright, so that was cane or dog. Number 7, one piece of advice for people who are going blind, losing their vision, or have already lost it. Well, one thing I always talk about when people say, oh, I'm sorry that, you don't have your sight, or you haven't had your sight, and I'm like, don't feel bad for me, because I was diagnosed with glaucoma when I was in first grade. And one thing that always helped me out was knowing the layout of places, knowing where to go. So even if you're not blind, like say you're slowly losing your vision, learn the layouts of your places. Like start with, I would say, a bedroom. Kind of try to memorize or come up with a little trick to know where things are. And then if you can memorize and learn the layout of a supermarket, for instance, like your regular supermarket, they're all pretty much going to be the same. And even if you have some vision, like I have, the thing that always helped me was bathrooms are always parallel to an entrance. So, bathrooms, you walk into one place, like I remember the McDonald's I used to frequent a lot, not that I eat a lot of fast food, but you walk in and the bathroom is to your right. Now the men's door, that's probably when you're going to need to find a way to compensate, Braille. A lot of the bathrooms have the little Braille signs if you're blind. Sometimes they're really nice and have the big letters on the bathroom doors, but pretty much learn the layout of a anything, learn the layouts of your common places. And the more you do it, the repetition is great for memory. That was one thing they all said in our psychology classes and school classes, you know, repetition, repetition, repetition. I believe that. So, question number 8. One piece of advice for the sighted to interact with the visually impaired. I would say don't treat us like we're made out of glass, you know? Don't baby us. I mean, there have been times where I've been... Actually, this was when I went to college, when I went to main campus for the first time. I was standing out waiting for my bus, and I had my cane out because that's how paratransit is the best way to identify me. And people would walk by and just be like, you know, people would walk by and not see me, is how it felt. They wouldn't acknowledge my presence. But one person came up, and she's a good friend of mine. She's like, "Hi, how are you?" You know, talking all quietly. And of course, there's me, Mr. Big Brass, you know, barrel chest, all loud. "I'm doing fine. How you doing?" You know. And she's like, "Oh, you know, I've seen you before," and a couple other things. And I remember saying to her, "Hey, you know, I'm visually impaired. There's nothing else wrong with me. Don't treat me like I'm made out of glass. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to say anything." And also, too, a lot of people like to be nice and help. And, again, when I was younger, like I said, I ran away from telling people that I was visually impaired. I didn't want to be treated differently. One of the big things is I didn't like when people would just come up and help me. You know, always ask. Asking is always great. You know, sometimes you'll get the people who are a little frustrated and get a little fresh with you, but try to live life through their shoes, you know. Sometimes there's people who aren't as well adjusted to the situations that are around them. You know, of course, when I was younger, man, I was one of the most stern, one of the fresh people. I would give little sly comments, of course, and I'd get in trouble for it. You know, my mom I was always, you know, getting told, "Hey, don't be like that," you know. And as I got older, I started realizing, so it was more like, yeah, you know, don't be like that. So number 8 is, well, that was number 8. 9. Why did I get into YouTube? Why did I join YouTube? This really has nothing to do with my visual impairment of how I started YouTube, my YouTube channel. It has more to do with a present I got in about 8th grade. The awesome thing was the iPod Touch had come out, and it was pretty much the equivalent to an iPhone minus the phone. And it had a rear-facing camera, which I loved. And I used to take pictures with it a lot. And then after a while, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. This is a camera. I've always wanted to do YouTube. I tried to have a channel a couple of times on devices that didn't have cameras and just weren't capable for doing YouTube. I had one of the first PSPs that wasn't capable of watching YouTube videos. I don't know if they are anymore. But, so I tried to start a channel a while, and, you know, just to subscribe and have favorites and create little playlists and stuff for YouTube. But that didn't work out till I got my first iPod Touch. And then, you know, I didn't really start a YouTube channel. I just would watch YouTube videos on it. Well, after about having a couple of iPod Touches, high school, my senior year, I got one with a front and rear-facing camera. After I had killed my first one, just broke it, smashed it all to bits, it fell out of my pocket. So I saw that it had a rear view and a front-facing camera, and I'm like, okay, let me start up a YouTube channel. Let me find... And that was cool. You know, I had a YouTube channel, didn't have any videos. Well, I started doing videos, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. My original video, my very first video was a train layout. And that's kind of how I first started finding YouTube. I wanted to build a model train layout. So, my uncle helps me build, pretty much builds the whole table for where I put the track and the cars and the buildings and stuff. Builds the whole table. So then I started doing videos of that, and, you know, trains weren't really my first love. It was toy cars, because I had a collection of toy cars as a kid. They went to the Goodwill when I got a little bit older and we had to move. We downsized. So I joined YouTube just because I wanted to watch videos. Now, the main thing that keeps me interested in YouTube is I've learned that there are people who, there was a guy, Race Grooves, he commented on one of my videos. Big inspiration to this channel. He's the reason I started collecting Hot Wheels as an adult. Not because I wanted to play with them, but just because they make great display items and sometimes conversation pieces. There's another guy I watch named Puchef Morobi. He's the reason I started doing custom cars. And that's the reason I customize a lot of cars. And really the reason I joined YouTube, to make a long story short and try to, make a summary, was I joined to watch other people's videos. I started making videos because I got a piece of technology, iPod, that really caused me to not have to borrow a camcorder, the family camcorder, and download and all that fun stuff, and render and stuff. I would just go straight from there. What keeps me doing YouTube is I now watch motor vloggers, people who ride motorcycles, and I've talked to one of the guys I watch. He is awesome. I know him through Facebook. I've got a great community of friends within the Hot Wheels cars and diecast and customizing community. A lot of people, not a lot, but people watch my videos and love them. My channel had to slow down because I couldn't really buy cars after a while and everything started running. So that's when I changed over to doing these, I call them Truck and Talk Thursday and Freightliner Friday. Almost every Thursday and Friday a video comes out, and that's me playing my truck driving simulator. And then these vlogs are just something that's new. As you can tell from the quality of lighting in this video in particular, I'm still trying to fine-tune everything and figure it out. So I feel like that took a long time. Number 10 is a little less. Number 10 is a question that's a little less time involved. 3 people I would like to tag this with: Tommy Edison, Buddha Safara. He's a friend of mine. I know him from another convention. It was the NFB Youth Slam, which was National Federation of the Blind Youth Slam. You go for a week and you pretty much, it's a STEM program, so trying to get visually impaired people involved in science, technology, engineering, and math. Which, again, I wasn't too big on math. Engineering was out. So, but it did help me do a lot. And I met this guy, Mark, and I'm going to tag him in this. All the tags will be in the bottom. Tommy Edison, he's another cool guy. Blind since birth. I actually started watching his videos because of James Rath, who tagged me in this. If I hadn't said that, I'll make a note at the beginning of this video. You've probably seen that in the title slide. And there was a third person, but I lost it. Well, there was a third person, I didn't have it. J.D. Walton. He's another person I just started watching because of James. So, check out James's channel. Check out Tommy Edison, Buddha Safara. I'll actually link all these channels down in the description. So James Rath, Tommy Edison, J.D. Walton, and Buddha Safara are actually going to be linked in this video. Now, another thing. Some of you guys have been looking at my computer screen, and I know you can't see it because it's really small, and then I also have it linked up to my TV. There is a document on my computer, and I think now is probably the best, if any time, called How Losing My Sight Opened My Eyes. Now, if that isn't a powerful enough title for you, it's basically my whole experience on being young and growing up visually impaired. And I had never written anything like this before high school. This was my senior essay that we had to do, and this was also my college essay. And I feel that this was actually part of what helped me get into college, because They always tell us, try to be unique, try to find a story that nobody else has. Well, I know a lot of people do have this story, or a story similar to me. Maybe not the exact same story as mine, but I know a lot of people have this story. So, being a high school senior, I wasn't really thinking about much. And this just is basically a chronicle of how I was younger and how I accommodated myself. So, the reason I say this put me over was everybody I showed this college essay to, teachers, friends, they all would tear up. Some less than others, but my English teacher who I showed this to and the whole final product, she teared up. My guidance counselor who I got a letter of recommendation from for college, teared up. My favorite teacher who said she wouldn't write recommendation letters for anyone, except she wrote one for me because she's known me for 3 out of 4 of my high school years. She, strong woman, never cried. Got her to have a little bit of a tear in her eye. So, and I keep that document around because it's just something that reminds me of how powerful words are and stories are. I know I'm a simple man. You can tell from my videos. I'm not the brightest guy that you will ever meet. So, it's just something that I keep around. So guys, if you made it to the end of the video, I thank you. I know this was dragging on and rambling on. I never really have a sense of time with these videos, but if you liked it, please, if you have something to say, please leave a comment. If you liked it, you know what to do. If this is your first time to my channel and you like these kind of videos, maybe not the subject matter or the content, but you kind of like these longer videos where I talk about stuff and give you a new perspective, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. And this is where I bid you adieu. Looks like my computer's going to sleep, so later guys. See you in the next video.